Hey everyone, welcome to Cryptid Crunch. I am your host, Willow Schuyler, and if you guys can't tell from the background, we are going to be talking about Greek mythology tonight, and can't wait to see you guys in a sec. All right, so before I bring our special guest on, unfortunately, Kale cannot join us tonight. She's had a pretty busy weekend at a convention, so I told her to take a rest and relax for the evening. In her place, though, is Johnny.
Here's Johnny. Hey there, friends and foes. This is John Pike of the Prophet of Pop Culture. You can call me Johnny, and I am super, super stoked to be back with Willow on Cryptid Crunch because, Willow, we've talked about this a lot. You know, when I was a kid, Sunday nights meant the cryptid and wild, like the nature shows, like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom and In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. And so when we get together on Sunday night, when I can be with you on Sunday nights, it's like I'm reliving that part of my childhood, and that's why we do this on Sunday nights. So anyway, super
and I'm
excited.
learning so much doing this show, and it has always struck like my curiosity to talk about myths, monsters, and legends, and I've been curious to find out what what the monsters are for where everybody lives and all that. So
yeah. Well, and you know, when you said you wanted to do Greek mythology and the monsters of Greek mythology tonight, I was like, okay, I gotta clear my schedule to join Willow because Greek mythology is one of my passions. I have a minor in comparative world religions, and I got into that because I was obsessed with Greek mythology as a kid. And in high school, I knew more than the teacher of, there was a class in my high school that you could take Greek mythology as a literature class, and I knew more than she did, and often she would have me lead the lectures because anyway.
All right, so we have a special guest.
Woohoo!
I think everybody here knows who Lacey is.
Lacey Lembeck, how are you?
Limke.
That's what I said.
We'll go with that. How you doing?
Doing
Excellent.
good. So, Lacey, you are a well-known author, and what is your interest in cryptids and in particular Greek mythology?
Oh, it takes me back to my teenage years of just reading book after book after book on Greek mythology. It was like my favorite thing. All the ancient Egyptian, ancient Sumerian legends and lore, because when we learn where the myths come from, we learn really what humans feared at the time, what they knew, how they viewed the world.
Yeah.
And our local legends are so important to people getting the nuance of these little towns.
Well, Willow, I love that, Lacey. And Willow, you didn't know this unless you've read the books, but my Tales of the Decoverse series is all based on Greek mythology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all of the characters in my Decoverse series are descendants of the Greek, Roman, and Egyptian gods.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and when I was doing research for this, Lacey, you'll love this. I took all of the different pantheons from all of the different major, myths, and I found connections and created a common family tree, and tied it into Judeo-Christian mythology with the Nephilim and
That's
the
awesome.
Titans. Yeah, and so it's all throughout the Tales of the Decoverse series. The more
So-
you know, Willow.
Yes.
I kind of did a bit of a deep dive today, listening to some audio stuff about Greek myths, and I will have to be honest. Like I knew this long before, like even with the show Hercules and all, going through the stuff in school. But is it just me, or are Greek gods, very petty with each other?
We are,
Oh, yeah.
especially Athena is like a queen petty.
Yeah, and it's not just the Greek gods, Willow. That is a common theme throughout the Egyptian and Norse and Celtic pantheons. They are extremely petty, and
They get jealous very easily.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think the Greeks kind of took it to a whole nother level with Hera throwing Hephaestus out of Olympus, and causing physical deformities, damaging him to that point. But in Norse mythology, Frigga, the wife of Odin, and her affection for Loki is a major point of contention. Caused Odin to sew Loki's lips shut. That's how
Wow.
petty they are.
But like they'll throw these contests to see who can best each other at whatever talent they have, and then then they get mad. It's like, well, you did this better than me, so now I'm going to curse you and throw you in a dungeon somewhere and have someone eat your liver.
Yeah, exactly.
For eternity.
Get to roll that rock up the hill, man. Come on.
Yeah. So we had Sisyphus. Which one was the one who had his side being eaten by vultures for all eternity?
The liver eaten by vultures was he was rescued by Perseus.
He was one of the other titans, though. There was Prometheus, Sisyphus, and the third one. This is going to bother me. I just read all of them too. I did like a cram course for the show, and because I used to be able to name these off the top of my head and all the stories when I was a kid, and now I'm older and I'm like, that was that one and that one. I will find out very quickly. I will consult the Oracle of Google.
Yes, that's the true Oracle of Delphi.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I did that. I learned about that too, and for some reason, why is my brain?
Yeah, I know. I was like, I studied for the test, and now I don't remember any of the answers. But are either one of you watching White Lotus?
I'm not.
No.
So second season takes place in Italy, and they focus heavily on the 17th century Baroque, and they do a lot of the Caravaggio paintings, which are a lot of Narcissus and other Greek myths, and they're just beautiful. They're probably one of my favorite sets of art.
All right. I love that. I love that.
It was Prometheus who.
It was Prometheus. Yes, for stealing the fire.
Yes. Okay.
There used to be, triggered this memory. There used to be an old kid show. I think it was on Kablam, called Prometheus and Bob.
What? I've never heard of this.
Oh my God. Okay. So back in ye old Kablam days, there was a show called Prometheus and Bob about an alien and a caveman who are stuck together on Earth, and it is so cute.
Wait, what is kablam?
Oh my gosh! So think Cartoon Network before Cartoon Network. They had a show called Kablam, and it was like they had like blocks, hours of shows, like Hey Arnold and stuff like that.
Okay. I gotcha. Kind of like USA's Cartoon Express.
Kinda, and they had their hosts were little cartoon figures. I think Henry and Jude was their names, and then they had Stick Stickly. If anybody remembers Stick Stickly, he was simply a popsicle stick with googly eyes. Yeah, I recommend this for Prometheus and Bob. It is hilarious.
We had those kind of characters up here as well.
Well, and here, Eli T. Cash, he chimes in and says, Kablam's a cartoon anthology on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I had no idea.
Oh, it's great. I recommend going down a YouTube rabbit hole the minute you can, and you're going to find some great stuff.
Oh, and Eli says, Kablam is how I've known they might be giants.
Oh, neat.
Istanbul, not Constantinople. Istanbul, not Constantinople. Been a long time gone. You remember that song?
Oh, yes.
I can't sing it. I get tang-tungled.
Yep.
I don't know. I always thought Constantinople was a prettier word than Istanbul. So I'm just kind of like, can we go back? I like that one.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows?
Yes.
I still can't. I still cannot think of the name of the Titan rolling the rock up the hill.
Sisyphus.
Wait, no, wasn't
no.
Sisyphus was the one who was
being punished?
Who was being drowned? One was in water up to his neck and could just barely catch a breath. Prometheus had his liver being eaten.
Yeah.
And then who rolled up?
No, that was Sisyphus.
Sisyphus. Yeah. Wow. Thanks.
Yeah.
I can't say that.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like an absolute idiot. This is my passion, and I'm confusing these three. So who was the one who was chained?
Chained and drowning?
Yeah. Who was that?
It's going to bother me because I don't know it. I can't even find the reference in my brain for it.
I'm going to find it.
Consult the Oracle.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to name my phone from now on. Hey, Oracle.
The drowning Titan was... Ocean... No.
Andromeda?
No. Andromeda got to live a happy ever after.
I will find it. Let's continue. We will continue the discussion.
Yeah. And it's really cool because Andromeda and the constellations, it's right next to Cassiopeia, which was Andromeda's mother in Ethiopia, and what is now modern day Ethiopia. And I think that's really cool how we can find these legends the further on you travel, because they just walked all over the place.
Well, so that's an interesting comment, Lacey. I was having this discussion with my daughter this afternoon, talking about this show and how, and Willow, you and I have talked about this before. I believe that myths and these legends of monsters and creatures and heroes all have some basis in historical truth. And for me, it's the only way that you can explain that there are dragon stories in every culture on every continent across the world. The only way that those legends could exist simultaneously, separated by thousands of miles of ocean, is if there were some truth. And one of the topics that came up was, the myth of mermaids.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say, oh, they're just seeing manatees. I'm like, no. You do not mistake a manatee for a beautiful woman with gorge. No. There's
Right.
something else going on there. And it just so happened that this week I saw a picture of the underside of a beluga whale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And did you know that beluga whales actually have legs?
No.
Yes. I'm going to find
Ooh.
the image.
Yeah.
They're covered up by flesh and skin. But it's part of the tail. And when they move in a certain way, you can actually see the legs underneath the flesh. And from the bottom, it looks like what people say mermaids look like.
Huh.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that is okay. I'm gonna save
Interesting.
this and show
Yeah.
everyone.
That's neat. I never knew that.
yeah, and of course, beluga whales, their heads they move independently from their body as well.
Mm.
So they have very human characteristics. I'm trying to see if I can find a shot of the underbody. And so maybe is it possible
Oh.
that a sailor. Oh, there
Yeah.
it is. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I can
could
totally see it.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely possible that, sailors, somehow they saw the underside of a beluga whale and they misinterpreted that as a feminine personality.
And
Mm-hmm.
probably their calls were their siren song.
Yeah. Because they sing. Beluga whales
Yeah.
sing. So, maybe
Okay. I
that's the
definitely
truth.
need to go see, go somewhere where there's whales so that I can
You know,
listen to the
and
song.
and I mean, if I was, a very superstitious sailor back then and believed all these stories, and literally my life would depend on believing these stories, I might actually believe it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're probably, half out of your mind with scurvy by that point, but, do you?
Well, and there's legends that are based in truth. Like we here on my wanted cryptid wanted lineup, there's a unicorn. Well,
Hmm.
did you know that unicorns are real?
Like
That's
horned
interesting.
horned horses? You mean?
No,
Is that?
they're not horses. They're rams,
Oh, it's a
but
ram.
with only one horn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Um, and way, way, way back when, like in the '80s, there was like an episode of I one of those
Goats.
60-minute news type of shows, and they went to a farm where the owners of the farm had bred these goats with one horn. They were real life unicorns. And when you see the classic interpretations, unicorns had beards. Well, horses don't have beards, but
Hmm.
goats do.
Interesting.
This kind of reminds me of the meme of the monks painting the cat. They're like, "You sure you know what a cat looks like?" "Yeah, bro, I got this." And it looks like some sort of rabid bat on hind legs, but no haunches a cat should ever have.
And then Willow, a lot of legends really I think are early hybrids.
Hmm.
Look, we're going to take a side trip here for just a minute because during World War II, Adolf Hitler was obsessed with the occult, and he was obsessed with mythology and the mythical creatures, and his team of occult scientists were desperately trying to create human animal hybrids. And there are varying degrees of stories about the success or lack thereof. One of the stories is about the werewolves of Paris. That Hitler actually succeeded in creating human wolf hybrids that were sent into Paris. And, there are stories that American soldiers tell about these werewolves that they fought during World War II.
I am never going to listen to Werewolves of London the same ever again.
Yeah.
I am going to have to look those up because that sounds like something that we need to touch on in a later show.
He had the ladies in his circle, part of this the Vril.
Yeah, the Vril Society.
Yeah, the Vril Society had really long hair, and they thought it connected them with the vibes of the earth, and they believed in ley lines and the Nazca lines and all that. And he sent teams of scientists to go look at all of this stuff.
Yeah, well, the whole thing with the Vril Society was that they believed in the hollow earth theory, and that the hollow earth was powered by this energy called Vril that was literally like a second sun in the center of the hollow earth. And anyway, that's a side trip, but
I don't know, man. People still believe that the earth is round and hollow and birds aren't real, and I don't know.
Well, so Dan Hollyfield said, John, that was Himmler. That is correct, but Hitler allowed it and directed it. I mean, look, Hitler was just as crazy as Himmler. And at the end of the day, the buck stopped with Hitler.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Eli, wonder if those werewolves have ties to Operation Paperclip in America.
Probably.
I think I know someone who I can contact to give us details on all that in an upcoming show. But
there was another show. Speaking of Uncle Carl, there was another show that I was listening to, a podcast called Citation Needed, and they were talking about different hysterias over the years, and they focused in at the very tail end, just where they kind of name a few of the littler ones. And they talked about the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, about people seeing a masked person who was spraying gas, and then everybody started seeing a masked person spraying gas. And it's kind of like, to what degree does belief fuel your sightings? And, do you just start thinking it? What part of you is reptilian braining?
Well, I can tell you this, Lacey. I lead haunted tours in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And the power of suggestion is incredibly powerful. I can suggest, people see shadows moving in this corner. And people on the tours will swear they saw shadows moving in that corner. Now, did they? Or did they just fall prey to the suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just and then there's this phenomenon that probably is part of these myths of the ancient world, where society, culture as a whole, believes something so strongly that it becomes reality.
Mm-hmm.
They call that talpus. And maybe some of these creatures that are from mythology are that phenomenon.
That you just believe so hard you believed them into existence.
Yeah.
Sort of like a Jack Frost phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like the chat here. So, I saw something. It was, yeah, it has to be the gasser. Yeah.
That's from Carl Witzman.
Yes.
Don says, we do know a werewolf expert, and
we've had him on the show.
We've had him on the show, Rich. Yeah. We're going to have to invite him back on, because we definitely need to pick his brain a little bit more when it comes to the werewolf thing.
Well, I think he actually he believes that the werewolves of Paris, the Nazi werewolves, were actually a code name used by the Nazis. They codenated the squad of SS super troopers as werewolves. But when you listen to stories from American soldiers and French soldiers, they describe something very different.
That's true.
I mean, he did do a lot of horrific experimentation on people, so Lord only knows what he actually came up with. What we know is horrifying enough.
Yeah. Well, and maybe something like, I told you earlier, Willow, that my favorite myth from mythology is the griffin. And, could the griffin actually have been an early hybrid experiment?
See, I can believe that. But I don't think it would have survived any of the amalgamations of. I don't think.
Well, let's think about this. So we've got a lion's body with a bird's head, an eagle's head, and wings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that so far outrageous when compared to something like the platypus, which is a beaver with a duck's bill, webbed feet like a duck, but everything else, is analogous to a beaver? And it's a mammal, but it lays eggs. The platypus does. I mean, come on.
That's true. That and the I'm going to mispronounce this one. Enkaida. It's also one of those ones that it lays eggs like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I mean, nature does some really weird stuff. I mean, look at the giraffe.
Well, right. And think about this: armadillos, who have literally bone scales on the outside of their body.
We have a lot of interesting creatures that I swear are supposed to be just cryptids, and we're not really supposed to know that they exist.
Yeah, well, it's like how people say, a chupacabra is just a coyote with mange. But then they see it's got a human face and it's got sharp rows of teeth. And I'm like, you know what? Out in the Mexican desert, I'm not even going to take a chance. I'm just going to say there's chupacabras and I don't go there.
Well, according to the movie on Netflix, Chupa, they are lovable, fuzzy little dogs with wings.
And then there's another show called The Imperfects in which it shows, and going back to the experimentation, he actually succeeds in creating a banshee, a chupacabra, and what was the other
Succubus.
one? Succubus, yes.
Listen, that show was fantastic.
I love Reese Nicholson so much.
I really wish we get another season of that show.
Yes.
I doubt we will because it's Netflix.
Oh, it is.
Netflix has a habit of creating something that you really love and is really popular, but before it gets popular, they decide, we're going to pull the plug.
Yeah.
The Santa Clarita Diet to be one.
That was a cute one.
I liked it. I loved it. And I really wish that Drew Barrymore would have bought the rights for that show to continue it.
Yeah.
Well, and hey, Dan Hollyfield makes a great point talking about some of these. Look at the pangolin, the anteater. That is an armored anteater that can roll itself in a ball like those pill bugs. Mm-hmm. And it is the most bizarre. And it's got these long claws. I have a.
Have you ever seen an eye?
I don't know. What is an eye?
An eye, dude, they're so messed up. They got these big eyes. They're forward-facing eyes like a predator. They have a really long appendage called a witch's finger, and they use to tap on tree bark for their food. Their ears like mouse. Oh my god, they're nuts. They're cute as They're cute as a button though. They're weird looking.
Well, and that pangolin, it's got that tongue because it's an anteater. It can dip way down into the earth and scoop up those ants, and those claws like a sloth. I mean, it looks like an armored badger is what it looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only reason honey badger acts the way it does is because it doesn't have that armor plating.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was looking at a picture the other day of a kangaroo. I never realized this. Do you know that the kangaroo, its middle toe, has a claw on it that is about 4 to 5 inches long, and it is sharp as a knife. And that's why getting kicked by a kangaroo is actually not just be the force, but that claw will stab you and gut you.
I love Carl. This is why we stay in the city.
I don't blame you.
It's funny how I lived in the middle of nowhere for like a good portion of my life, and I don't remember seeing any of these like type of monsters around around my foster home until people are like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" I was like, "Okay, where were these stories when I was a kid?"
Yeah. I mean, like they have the big muddy monster around here, and there's always sightings of Bigfoot and such. But
listen, I'm a wholehearted believer in Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot is absolutely 100% real. But I spend a lot of time debunking Bigfoot sighting videos because I'm not stupid. That irritates me when people are like dumb about it.
Or like when they get like the padded feet and like make the prints and stuff.
Well,
the majority of the videos are them trying to follow or figure out where that screaming animal noise is coming from, and it's either cougars, bobcats, or even bears.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why I absolutely 100% believe in Bigfoot. One, I believe that it is an undocumented North American ape. Okay, and great apes have a higher level of intelligence, and if we consider that Sasquatch is probably on the higher tier of apes, an intelligence level of about a fifth grader. Okay, so something that can hide and not be seen when it doesn't want to be seen. But here's what made me a believer. My older brother was a Navy SEAL, and he had a Bigfoot encounter face to face at Mount Rainier State Park on a training exercise with the SEALs, and it had to be reported. And the U.S. Navy has a very specific protocol for reporting encounters with Sasquatch. There's a manual published by the U.S. government given to the Navy about what to do if you see one, don't shoot it, what do you do when you encounter it. And according to and listen, Navy SEALs don't lie, because when Navy SEALs lie, people die. And my brother, even to this day, he has this look in his eye like, if you weren't my brother, I'd kill you right now. And he's a serious dude. He does not play around. He does not joke around. And, there are thousands and thousands of these reports logged with the U.S. government, and then Mount St. Helens explodes. And according to my brother, he was part of one of the SEAL teams that was sent in to recover hundreds of thousands of Sasquatch bodies from the Mount St. Helens explosion site.
Interesting.
I've never heard that. But then again, I don't know that many Navy SEALs.
And Carl Witzman says, smart as a fifth grader. That's how he avoids most of the Bigfoot hunters. Just saying. You're not wrong, Carl.
You know what? If some dude named Daryl wants to spend his life in an RV in the middle of the woods hunting Bigfoot, cool. Go for it. Do your thing. But, you know, the people who like make an active, like watching that Bigfoot hunter show a while back, when you were just like, okay, come on.
I despise when they are like, oh, we found a nest and it's just thrown together sticks and crushed up grass. It's like, really? Like, just that just probably had an animal just do its usual thing, spin around, and then lie down.
Well, no. Okay, Willow, I'm gonna come to their defense here. When they are seeing a nest, we're not talking about some sticks scattered in a circle and grass. We're talking about huge structures that do not happen naturally. They don't. This does not happen. Now, could it be a bear nest? Sure. Could it be?
It could be an eagle's nest. Those can get up to like 500 pounds.
It could, or well, probably more. Not necessarily an eagle, but a harpy eagle, specifically. Have you seen a harpy eagle? A harpy eagle is the size of a man. They get up to 6 feet tall, 6 feet long.
Wow.
And if you look at a harpy eagle compared to what people describe seeing with Mothman, I don't believe in Mothman. I believe they've seen a harpy eagle.
That can be a lot of it too, and I think some of the other flying ones that people have seen have been flying foxes, because those guys get to be about 5 feet tall with like a 12-foot wingspan.
Yeah, it's a crane that they've seen. The harpy eagle, isn't that in the Amazon?
No, they come up. They're as far north as North America, and you know, it's entirely possible that there was someone who had private ownership of a harpy eagle, and it got loose. I'm gonna post this picture that I just found, Willow. This is gonna freak you out, because not only does it look like a person, but it is. I mean, I'm almost positive that this is what people are seeing when they say they have seen Mothman.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge.
And that is massive.
And the Jersey Devil is described as having bat wings, but a horse face. Well, have you ever seen those horse face bats?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna find it. Where is it? Yeah, and these things get huge. Well, no, this is a bad picture. These things get huge. I mean, as big as a person. And it's unbelievable what is out there in nature. And I'm convinced that whatever they're seeing in the in the flatwoods of New Jersey is this bat, which gets to be as big as a human man, up to 6 feet tall, and it's got this big horse face. So,
yeah, you realize I'd be one of those dumb people, be like, here, I want to pet it.
Yeah. There was, I mean, owls just in and of themselves are huge. You don't really realize how big they are. We were in the backyard the other night, and the only reason I realized it was there is because it suddenly went dark on that side. It made no sound. It didn't do anything besides simply spread its wings and fly over us as though we were vermin.
Huh.
because it's a bird of prey. They do attack, but and it was a barred owl, and it was huge. So I can't even, like, somebody, I mean, you're walking around in Jersey, you're stoned, you're trying to eat your pizza, and all of a sudden you got a, horse face winged thing coming at you, and you're just like, where's Kevin Smith when I need him?
Grizzly Adams has a sentiment. Damn nature, you're scary.
That's one of my favorite Phil Lamar lines ever.
Well, and Carl Witzman adds, harpy eagles are scary as...
We're going to leave that up to the imagination.
But Eli Cash makes a great point. A harpy, which is a Greek myth, is a staple of Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe the harpies of Greek mythology are one of these misidentified animals.
Yes.
Like a harpy eagle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and who knows what they saw, what they were digging up before people knew what, dinosaurs were, and they found all these strange bones.
Absolutely.
And, let's lay them out and, like, not just kind of guess.
Exactly. Grizzly Adams says, if you see one Sasquatch, there's 1,000 more hiding in the nooks and crannies. I believe that. There are a couple of things that I believe wholeheartedly in. I wholeheartedly believe that Sasquatch is real. 100%. I wholeheartedly believe that Loch Ness Monster, Champy, these plesiosaur animals that has survived, I believe that they're 100% real. Because there are too many consistent sightings over generations for it to be a hoax or to be something misidentified. However, a lot of the other cryptids, I think, are just misidentified because we haven't...
Yeah.
That's what cryptid means, right? Unknown or unseen or unidentified. And like the whole thing that I was talking about with the legends of dragons, what if dinosaurs weren't made extinct in a global extinction event? What if dinosaurs were actually hunted off well into the medieval era?
So you don't
Like
think
the
it got
bison?
them? I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we've proven over many centuries when it comes to science, like, birds have evolved from dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that.
And we still have lizards walking this planet.
Well, that's
of
why.
various shapes and...
Well, here's the problem with the birds from dinosaurs theory, is that one species cannot become another species. It is scientifically, biologically impossible. Now, one species can evolve within the species, and that's how you get variations in wolves, foxes, dogs, and raccoons. They're all the same species, but they've evolved in different ways. So I don't buy the birds from dinosaurs thing, because they're too complete. Reptiles are not birds. They're just not the same species. But I do believe that, here's the thing. Reptiles, I don't know if you knew this, they never stop growing.
Ooh.
And they grow their entire lifetime. They never stop. That's why we have these massive, crocodiles and alligators that look like dragons. In the South Pacific, the Komodo dragons. Again, they look like what classical mythology describes as dragons, and maybe prior to our atmosphere being one way or another, the climate being more, productive to longer life, those Komodo dragons grew much, much, much larger than they are today. I mean, they are huge today.
So you're thinking like they started off small, and then once their main predators went away, they were allowed to grow?
Yeah, or maybe just the atmospheric conditions, created an environment that their lives were longer. Their lifespans were longer.
And they're they're venomous, right? They can actually like spit poison.
I don't think Komodo. That's Gila monsters.
Oh, that's Gila monsters?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the Southwest. I don't think Komodo dragons do, but they are dangerous predators. They are.
Yeah, they are. They're
carnivores.
Yeah. It's like I've seen them in zoos and stuff, and they're massive in there. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to actually meet one in the desert.
So I'm gonna challenge Dan Holyfield's statement. John, I respect your opinion, but you happen to be wrong in this case about one species evolving into another. He thinks that I'm wrong. Science is not set on this. This is not settled science. And this is all based on the Darwinian theory that has been proven to be wrong in laboratory experiments over and over and over again. Sorry, Dan. This is our show. Love you, mean it.
I'm learning from everybody in this chat. So
I wonder if some of those smaller ones, what's that one that's got the fan and it runs really weird when it's on land? They can climb really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like the evolution of those. And it's like, really? It started off, just a little thing, and it got into this like umbrella venom squirting weird little runner.
Yeah, that's the descendant of a velociraptor. Velociraptors did not become chickens. They became this fan.
Are you sure, Johnny? Because I've lived with some chickens that were pretty vicious.
Well, chickens can be vicious, but
I mean, have you seen those Chinese fighting chickens?
Oh yeah, the roosters, yeah.
Yeah, they're massive, and they have the claw on the end of their
talon?
Their little their talon. Yeah, and they got that, and that's one of the most dangerous things about them. So I wonder if some of the ones that were classified as reptilian were actually avian in nature.
See, that is more likely. I think sometimes there are some misidentifications. Dan Holyfield mentions that paleontologists can show you the fossil evidence of bird-hipped dinosaur skeletons evolving into modern birds. But those weren't reptiles. Those were birds. Those were prehistoric avian species. Anyway.
Sorry, I think we all saw
back into our Greek mythology episode. Would you rather fight 100 chickens or one Jurassic Park-sized velociraptor? I have a chance against the velociraptor, man. They weren't actually that big.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say chickens. I'm gonna go because I can kick them like a football.
Well, all the other 99, one of them peck at you.
I don't know.
My chance on a velociraptor, and hopefully I have a good dinner after.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we have unlocked an achievement here, Willow, because Carl Witzman says, "Okay, I'm gonna have nightmares for Keisha tonight."
Just little avian willows and Lacey's chasing them.
And speaking of Keisha, hello.
Speak the devil's name and she appears. Welcome, Mama Keisha. Mama Acuff.
Speaking of which, she needs a name for her baby, so maybe we'll take up a poll later. And
boy or girl?
She's having a girl.
Do we want to?
She wants an older style name for her.
Zipporah. Zipporah Acuff. There you go. Done.
She could always do a Greek mythology name since we're covering so many today. You know,
like Persephone.
Yes.
Or Medusa.
Mm-hmm. Echo.
Oh yes.
Venus.
Mm-hmm.
Hera. Ooh, Hera Acuff.
Oh yeah, Hecate Acuff.
Yeah,
that'd be cute.
So I just popped this up, Willow. Hercules or Heracles, depending on how you pronounce it, battling the Cerberus, and this was a 3-headed dog. Now, it's easy to dismiss the 3-headed dog that guards the gates of Hades as pure fantasy, until you see in modern times we have seen 2 and 3 and even 4-headed animals that have been mutants from either radiation or some kind of birth defect. So I don't think Cerberus is that far off from being a believable myth.
Think that somebody just actually had a deformed animal, had one of the ones that had multiple heads, and they just kind of they actually took care of it to where it could have a long enough life.
Yeah, that was the one thing that all the gods actually feared. Like, that thing had a lot of power when it came to the gods.
Well, so one of the biggest, most powerful dogs is the bull mastiff. These are enormous dogs. They get up to 200 pounds. And, in Shakespeare's works, they're referred to as the hounds of hell in Henry V. And unleash the hounds of hell. They were enormous dogs, guardians, protectors. And, this statue of Cerberus looks like a bull mastiff or maybe a pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
I could see, some kind of bully breed. Yeah,
a 3-headed pit bull. Holy crap!
That would mess anybody up, dude.
Yeah.
Again, being the lovable lover of all animals, I'd be like, I want to pet it.
Yeah.
Well, and if it was a pit bull, it would be the sweetest animal on the planet.
Oh yeah. It would probably lick you to death before it goes after you.
It just barks at you a lot.
Hey, speaking of Keisha's baby's name, Donna Carleen says Medusa Acuff. I like that. Ooh, that could work.
Yeah.
And, knowing Keisha's family.
This is why I would die a very painful death, is because, yes, I'd be like, here, puppy.
Yes.
I have a treat for you.
I am in a group called I just know I'm going to die trying to pet something I shouldn't. And a lady thought she was trying to get a plastic bag out of the ocean. Ended up being a jellyfish. And so, just talking about how things look like other things. She really just thought it was a piece of plastic and was trying to pull it out of the ocean. Ended up being a jellyfish and stung her. So, exactly, we don't know. And we have no idea how many things were miscategorized and labeled wrong before we even knew what we were doing.
Well, Grizzly Adams makes this point about Cerberus, that 2-headed animals don't survive in the wild. That's generally true, but in captivity, they often do. And if you have a caretaker taking care of that dog and nurturing it and making sure it stays well and healthy.
And Hades loved his hellhounds.
Oh yes. Right. Just sitting there patting them, drinking hellfire. Go swimming in the river Styx. Here you go, boy.
Grizzly Adams also adds, everything I know about Greek mythology I learned from movies. Well,
yeah.
The
Jason.
movies have totally ruined the stories, though.
Well, not Jason and the Argonauts. Jason and the Argonauts is one of the best movies about Greek mythology ever made. And it's so true to the legends. And it features brilliant stop motion animation by the legendary Ray Harryhausen. If you've never seen Jason and the Argonauts, you got to see it.
Is this going back to like the 60s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It stands the test of time today.
How do you feel about like Clash the Titans?
So,
Which version?
The old one, the good one.
Okay, so I don't know because I didn't see it when it first came out. It came out when I was in first grade, and I, for whatever reason, I never saw it in the theaters, and I wanted to, but I never did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until 2 years ago that, it's on Disney Plus now. And so I decided to sit down and watch the original Clash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans was made during the dark times of Disney.
Mm.
It
Didn't hold up.
I couldn't do it. I got 40 minutes in and I'm looking at how much is left? An hour and a half is left? Are you kidding me? It was that kind of movie. I couldn't do it. So I don't know. Now I did see the most recent one with what's his name? Who starred in that?
I don't remember.
But it's completely inaccurate. It's horribly inaccurate. It does not say. I mean, it has them teaming up with the jinn, and the genies are part of Middle Eastern mythology.
Mm-hmm.
But to my knowledge, there were never any jinn in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
So and the way they portray the jinn are these demonic creatures made out of wood and earth.
So like a golem type deal.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing that you brought up, Lacey. The Israelites believe 100% in golems. That's what it comes from. The golem was a statue that was brought to life through the prayers of the Hebrews to defend to defend their settlement, to defend Jerusalem. And the story is told in the Maccabees, one of the books that is not included in the canon of the Bible. The Talmud is where, so.
Good to know.
Yeah. And I know there are newer adaptations like Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which I've heard good things about, but I'm not and I'm just not in that age category anymore.
Oh, the books are phenomenal.
Oh, they are? Okay, good to know.
Yeah, the books are phenomenal. And what I like about them is they stay true to the classic mythology, but they place it in contemporary times. And it's basically about the children of the gods in today's society.
Okay.
And so good. Now, the two movies were, they weren't bad. They just weren't very good. But there's a new series coming to Disney Plus that Rick Riordan, who wrote the Percy Jackson series, is the executive producer of the TV series. And it is like as close to an adaptation of a book as any adaptation could ever be. It looks like it's going to be phenomenal. You should read the books, Lacey. They're great.
They sound like it. It sounds like a good read. I'm currently on chapter 5 of A Wrinkle in Time myself, so that might be my next one.
Yeah. Grizzly Adams asked, Golem or Gollum? And Dan Hollyfield says, Golem, John just has an accent. No, my tongue just got tangled.
Hmm. I've heard him pronounce Golem as well.
Yeah. Golem, it's about the same thing. And Eli T. Cash does say that Greece, Israel, and parts of the Middle East are not too far from the Mediterranean Sea. That's correct. The jinn in Greece doesn't sound too far off. No, you're right, Eli, except there are no mention of the jinn or anything like the jinn in any of the Greek or Roman myths.
Yeah, all the people that they meet end up being like nymphs or other gods, or just very special humans.
Yeah.
You know, but there's no the only trickster really is Loki.
Well, that's Norse mythology.
And yeah, that's Norse mythology. It's like I don't really think there's any sort of a jinn-esque character in Greek mythology.
The closest you get is the character of Pan.
Yeah.
The god of the wild.
They're akin to nymphs, maybe?
They could be.
Or
they could be.
Like sprites?
Or sprites, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Eli knows this, and this is why he's bringing this up. In the Decoverse that I created, they are all intertwined. They are all related and connected. But if we go just by what the texts have been published in the traditional legends, there are no jinn in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
I think we just all need to go and take a trip to Greece and let them tell the stories.
I would love to do that.
Lacey, what is your favorite Greek myth or monster?
Probably one of my favorites is Medusa. I do love the story of Medusa. There's an actual art installation featuring Medusa holding the head of Perseus instead.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's a really powerful piece speaking on how men are coddled in the justice system, how Athena punished Medusa instead from being attacked by Poseidon instead of, hey, bad Poseidon. Yeah, but so that's taken a turn on that, so that's really cool. Another one is Narcissus, and how he falls in love with his own reflection because it's a curse, because he rejects the advances of Echo, who goes and dies in a cave, leaving the last word she ever says. That's how you get Echo. Her voice was left in the cave. So when you shout, hello, oh. And so how he's cursed to spend his life starving the way that she did, just by staring at his own reflection.
That's awesome. Willow,
yeah.
I mentioned griffins are one of my favorites. Yeah. My absolute all-time favorite Greek monster from mythology is the manticore.
Oh, the manticore. I forgot all about that one. I love the minotaur. I forgot about this guy.
Yeah, so a lion's body, a human face, goat's horns, bat wings, and a scorpion's tail.
So let's just mishmash all the scary things together.
Yeah, sometimes called a chimera.
Okay, chimera, yeah.
Yeah, but
that
word I know.
Yeah, I do love the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. That is probably one of my favorite stories.
And couldn't it be that the Minotaur was an actual person, a giant? I 100% believe that giants once were a race of people on the earth, and there's evidence all throughout the world for that. Well, what if the Minotaur was a giant who was kept captive by what was it, King
King
Argus?
Minos. King Minos.
Minos, yeah. And he wore the helm, the
Like a helmet
skull.
made out of a bull's head?
Yeah, yeah.
That could be.
And Eli T. Cash says Cyclops, a giant humanoid with a distinct deformity that hunts smaller animals and humans in active survival. So if you have a giant that was born with only one eye, he's going to be, rejected by society, forced to live on the outskirts. And, so anyway.
And of course, they had slave trade. So Lord only knows, how many people.
So Orpheus, the legend of Orpheus is, Dan Hollyfield asked about this. No, he was not a demigod. So Orpheus is the one who journeyed into Hades to rescue Persephone. And Hades made this deal that Persephone would follow him out of Hades, but he could not turn back. He had to trust that she was with him. And he couldn't help himself. He turned back to see if she was with him, and the minute he did, she vanished and she had to remain in Hades. But Orpheus was also a musician, and one of the greatest musicians that ever walked the earth. Women fell in love with him when he played his lute.
Well, he was the one who tamed Cerberus with his lute.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's how he got in.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a lute or a lyre?
A lyre.
Or yeah.
A lyre, a lute, a lyre.
I think it changes depending on the story. Mochi, you're not in the podcast.
I mean, it's an early guitar. He was a rock god. Guitar.
It was
hero.
a miniature harp. Let's get it straight, people.
Yes. Ding. Whatever it was that played
Charles
beautiful
says, "Hi,
music.
kitty."
But I love how that's all. The story of Persephone is also how you get the story of the seasons, the spring and the winter and the fall and the bounty from the pomegranate seeds. How they come up with this elaborate story to explain why their world, goes into a state of hibernation and then blossom again because we don't understand seasons. Yeah, but they're so important in understanding how early humans viewed the world and all the things that they needed to deal with at that time. Which was apparently Zeus getting around an awful lot.
Yeah. Okay, so there's an image that I love. Going back, I don't know how long this image has been going around Facebook for, but the reality of centaurs. I love the idea.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I love the idea of them, but yeah, I think this, sadly, this picture just ruins it for me.
Oh, please let it be the picture I'm thinking of. Oh. Yeah! I love that.
Sorry, guys, but
that is hilarious.
Cannot hold themselves up, so having baby centaurs, it would just be a mess.
Yeah, because so horses get up. They're just so fast when they get up. As soon as they're out, they stand up within minutes of being born. So you have a newborn's soft, floppy body on top of a horse that has just gotten up and run away without it, basically.
It wouldn't survive.
No, it would have whiplash immediately.
This is my face.
We just ruined Greek mythology for everyone tonight.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, you gotta put one of those special braces on them to hold them up.
All right, so let's talk about centaurs for a moment.
All right.
So what could those have been? Because, listen, centaurs are described in intricate detail in Greek and Roman mythology, and somewhat into the Celtic mythology, Western European. So what could those be? What did people misidentify as centaurs?
I don't know. It almost sounds like a grotesque punishment.
Yeah.
No, like how the Vikings would blood eagle people. Maybe they just cut you off and put you on a horse, made you a horse's ass.
Well, could it be a soldier or a warrior with a standing saddle?
You think it was like a standing saddle, and then they just thought that they were connected?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there are different saddles, and a lot of the ones people use to not for long distance or for hardcore riding, but for just trotting around, are actually standing. And so it's not super far off, but also, I mean, what horse's head would be short enough that you could mistake that, unless they were cloaking the horse's head?
Okay, here's what I imagine. Someone looking out into a field, seeing a horse with its head in the water, and maybe someone beside it brushing its mane. And it just happened that the two images kind of look like they combined for a moment.
Well, or a person sitting on a horse with its head tucked down, and so you see the human form on top of the horse's body. Mm-hmm. But I would submit, if you have a high profile saddle that puts you above the horse's head as the rider, as a warrior, so that you can clear the head and not be that would be something. Someone sees that from far off, that looks like a horse human hybrid.
The Huns lived on horseback, and they even slept on their horses sometimes. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I could,
Ta-da! Hey, Willow. It is after 9.
Yes, I know, and you guys have to go to work tomorrow morning.
I need to take off, but you guys can continue this conversation without me. As a matter of fact, you might get more viewers and more comments if I'm gone. But I just want to say, man, what a fun topic! I've enjoyed this.
Yes.
We're definitely going to have to revisit this conversation for sure, because Kale is definitely missed. But we'll definitely do a part 2 for this.
And Lacey, are you going to be at Imaginarium again this year?
I'm going to try. We'll see. I haven't really written anything like a screenplay in a minute. I am working on some stuff. But fingers crossed, I will be. Fingers crossed.
All right. I'll look forward to seeing you there then.
You too.
And with that, I'm going to say good night, ladies.
Good night.
Love you, mean it.
Night.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. So, did you need to take off, or I should probably go soon because my husband's passed out on the couch, and I don't know if people have heard him snoring yet, but
I heard something in the background. I just assumed you had a child back there or something, or a cat or something.
He's watching Clone Wars. We just got Disney Plus, so now it's time to catch up on all the shows that we missed.
Oh yeah.
And I've been watching it here and there, and it is not a show for kids.
No, it is not. And I don't know how it ended up on a kid's channel. It was not one of the shows I watched. I just didn't get into it at that time. And sometimes it's hard for me to get into new Star Wars stuff because there's, this group of people that are like, well, you weren't here from the beginning. So I'm like, just be happy people showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've been enjoying I just keep calling it the Baby Yoda show in my head, The Mandalorian. It's just Pedro Pascal and the Baby Yoda show.
Yep. Man, that actor has been getting around lately too. Like,
And I forget how long he's been around. Like they showed him in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
oh wow.
And then like
I'm really enjoying his acting in almost everything he's in. Like,
have you ever seen The Kingsman?
yes.
And
That is
he
one of
has
my
in The
favorite
Kingsman
movies.
too.
Yeah.
Yes. He did a good job at it. And they said that that role is really reminiscent of his role on Narcos, which
Okay.
I'm hoping to start this year.
Okay.
Need to do my Pedro homework.
All right, Lacey, I really am thankful that you joined us tonight. And sorry, we didn't really get much going on the whole
we
but
got a lot done. We talked about a lot. I'm happy with what we did.
This is what the show is, guys. We try to have a subject, but we veer way off.
The topic, well, okay, that's the topic. We didn't say we were going to talk about the topic.
That's true.
Nowhere
we
in
don't
that.
specify how long we're going to talk about this subject.
It's the back of the cereal box. You're working on the maze, not reading how much riboflavin's in there.
You guys are amazing. Thank you. Lacey, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, on social media, you can find me on Facebook. You can find the Dope Bunny and Clive Facebook page as well. Give that a like and enjoy that. You can find Dope Bunny and Clive on YouTube as well as in DVD form with Streamline and bonus features. You can also find my books on Amazon, and I have all of them on there, and you can buy them and bring them to me to sign, or you can purchase one there and I'll sign it for you.
Excellent. So in a couple of weeks for our next episode, we are bringing on Kenny Biddle, who is... Where's my picture of him? I thought I saved it. He is the one of the main lead investigator for Scientific Inquirer. Sorry.
Okay.
He does a lot of stuff for TikTok and his own Facebook page, where he debunks a lot of like the haunted stories and technology that they used for ghost tours. And
okay.
So I cannot wait to have him on for the next episode.
And you know what? Debunking ghost stories and also going ghost hunting they're both super fun in their own way.
And he has gone ghost hunting, and he started off as a ghost hunter, and then something happened where he's just wasn't finding what he wanted to see, and then he actually was invited. He actually goes on ghost hunts and tries to capture like his side of the whole hunt.
Cute.
So
I like that. I like that. It's a cool idea.
I'm excited to have him on. You guys, I can't wait for you guys to meet him, because this guy, I stalk his pages all the time, and
that sounds like it's going to be a really fun interview.
I'm going to have to write down some questions, but I know that it'll just be like one big conversation with him telling me all the fun little technical side of things. So yeah, tune in. Kenny Biddle. You guys can find him on social media. I love his I love his TikTok page.
Oh, okay, he's
that's
got a
where
TikTok. Nice.
yes, yes. So but oh, here. I did find his picture. Okay.
Ah, good deal.
So I'll be making the links for this for sure. So
Okay.
that's what he looks like. I can't wait. And he has like I'm gonna be completely honest. He has the bluest eyes I've ever seen of any guy. So it might just be me staring into his eyes while he talks.
Yes, tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me all about the Warrens, please.
All right. You guys can find me all over social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I do have a Twitter, but I very seldom use it. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in a couple weeks.